week 17 is approaching, and that means we are going to be having a slew of matchups with heavy playoff implications on the schedule. These playoff implications are something that have to be talked about before the games officially kick off. Now, what we are going to do first here is talk about the teams and seeding already in place. Then we are going to discuss some of the pathing for later seeds in each conference and what needs to happen for them to make the postseason. Starting off with the AFC, they have 5 teams already clinched: the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, Cincinnati Bengals, Baltimore Ravens, and Los Angeles Chargers are all locked in. Buffalo and Kansas City are division winners, so both will continue to contend for the number one seed in the conference to decide which team gets the bye week. Buffalo actually gets home field advantage throughout the playoffs with a win next week and a Chiefs loss to go along with it. The Cincinnati Bengals can also clinch their division title this weekend. All that needs to happen is that they have to win this week and the Baltimore Ravens have to lose. Or Cincinnati has to at least tie their game and Baltimore has to lose. Cincinnati has the potential to completely alter the power in the AFC seeding this weekend though. They take on the Buffalo Bills, the top seed. If they beat them, they would tie with the best record in the league with both the Chiefs and Bills if Kansas City also loses. The Bengals will have the tiebreaker over both of them. If that happens due to their earlier win over the Chiefs, it would then thrust Cincinnati into the top seed, something they desperately want. Outside of these teams that have already been locked in, this means that there is just 2 spots remaining. One of them is the division winner of the AFC South, but that won't be decided until the season finale with the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Tennessee Titans. This means that the only spot left that can be clinched in week 17 is the final wildcard spot, which is currently in possession of the Miami Dolphins. Miami has lost every single game during the month of December this season and is on the verge of slipping out of the postseason. To avoid having that happen to them, they can get into the postseason in week 17 with a win and a New York Jets loss or tie. If that doesn't happen, they can get into the postseason if they are able to tie their game and gets a Jets loss and a Pittsburgh Steelers loss or tie. The bottom line is that their playoff chances are in their own hands at the moment. Though, who knows what we might get out of them with quarterback Tua Tagovailoa in concussion protocol once again, potentially leaving them with no franchise cornerstone in the most important game of the year. Miami does need to be careful though, as 4 teams still find themselves well in the hunt entering week 17. Those teams in the AFC being the New England Patriots, New York Jets, Tennessee Titans, and Pittsburgh Steelers. It's honestly fairly shocking that everything is essentially locked in place in the AFC outside of just a few sports. Over in the NFC, things are a bit more open. We have 4 teams already clinched in the postseason, but even their seeding is very much up in the air at this point. The Philadelphia Eagles, Minnesota Vikings, San Francisco 49ers, and the Delta Cowboys are all locked in already. Philadelphia is sitting at 13-2 this year, but somehow hasn't clinched the division just yet. They have an opportunity to do just that and swipe home field advantage throughout the postseason if they are able to get a win over the New Orleans Saints. We also have the New York Giants with a path to the postseason this weekend. They will be able to get a playoff berth for the first time in years if they can get a win this weekend over the Indianapolis Colts. If that doesn't happen, they might be able to tie their game. If they tie, they will need a Seattle Seahawks loss or tie and a Washington Commanders loss or tie. Or they would need a Seattle loss or tie and a Detroit Lions loss or tie. On top of these, they can tie with a Washington loss and tie and a Lions loss or tie and a Green Bay Packers loss or tie. Bottom line though, New York certainly doesn't want to tie their game and leave their playoff fates up in the hands of multiple other teams. Surprisingly though, the Giants have 3 more paths to the playoffs this weekend. They could get in with the Seahawks loss and a Washington's loss for 1. Another path needs the Seahawks to lose, the Lions to lose, and the Packers to lose. Then finally, the last Giants path is seeing Washington, Detroit, and Green Bay all lose this weekend. The easiest path by far for this crew is just beating the calls and sealing their own fate. No team wants to leave their chances up to other teams at this point in the year. This brings out the final team with a potential clinching scenario in Week 17, the Washington Commanders. They are certainly hoping for the final wildcard spot in the NFC, but they need to get themselves a victory against the Cleveland Browns this week in order to have that happen. That's not all though, that's actually just the bare minimum. They have to win on top of a Seattle, Detroit, and Green Bay loss in order to clinch. If one of those things doesn't happen, then Washington will have to wait another week and play it out in week 18 to attempt and lock themselves in. The teams in the hunt in the NFC have been interesting to say the least. The Seahawks have lost 5 out of their last 6 after such a hot start to the season, rapidly slipping down the rankings. The Lions have won 6 out of their last 8 with a playoff opportunity in front of them. The Packers were supposedly dead in the water until Aaron Rodgers had them ripping off a winning streak to get right back into contention. Then both the Panthers and Saints are competing for the NFC South title, but Tampa Bay can put them both away with a win this weekend. If they lose, either team could potentially make this division battle interesting. So, guys, is your team still in the playful hunt and they can seal their fate this week, or are they already dead in the water after a terrible season? And did they move their focus to next season? We are already looking forward to the most tense football of the year behind the playoffs themselves as teams fight to stay alive and get to that illustrious postseason.